In the village of Kambara, pain was not something people spoke about. It was something they cooked with. It lived in the smoke that rose from clay stoves, in the silence between neighbors, and in the way eyes avoided one another when truth felt too heavy to carry. At the far edge of the village, where the land dipped toward a dry riverbed, stood an old hut that no one entered anymore. Its walls leaned inward, as if tired of holding secrets, and inside that hut, resting in the corner beneath a thin layer of ash, was a clay pot older than most living memory. The elders called it the forgetting pot, but they never explained fully what that meant. They only said that some wounds are too sharp for the human heart to survive, and sometimes forgetting feels like mercy. But mercy in Kambara was never free. Amara had once believed that time would soften betrayal, the way rain softens hard soil. She believed that distance would cool humiliation. She believed her sister would feel guilt. She believed her husband would regret choosing blood over vows. She was wrong. The wedding feast had been loud. The drums had been merciless, and while the village danced, Amara stood at the edge of the celebration, watching the man she once loved place a necklace around her sister's neck. No one stopped it. No one defended her, except one small voice. Her nephew had stepped forward, barely tall enough to reach her hand, and said, "This is wrong." He had been the only one who saw her, and that was the memory that burned the longest. 3 nights after the wedding, when the drums had finally gone quiet and the village returned to its ordinary rhythm of denial, Amara walked toward the hut at the edge of Kambara. She did not walk quickly. She walked with decision. The air inside the hut felt heavier than the night outside. She knelt beside the clay pot and brushed away the ash with steady fingers. The lid was warm, warmer than it should have been. For a moment, doubt flickered in her chest. But doubt cannot survive long in a heart that has chosen revenge. She lifted the lid. Steam rose slowly, curling in the air like something alive. The scent was faintly sweet, almost comforting. She took the first spoon. When Amara brought the spoon to her lips, she expected fire, bitterness, or even fear. But what she tasted was softness. It was warm and strangely gentle, like something prepared not to harm her, but to comfort her. For a brief second, she almost laughed at herself for fearing an old village myth. Nothing happened. No thunder, no whispering spirits, only silence. But then she tried to picture the wedding again. The necklace, the drums, her sister's triumphant smile. And something subtle shifted. The image felt further away, as if she were remembering a story someone else had told her. The sharpness of humiliation dulled at the edges. Her breathing slowed. Her chest felt lighter. The pain did not disappear entirely, but it no longer burned. Encouraged by the quiet relief spreading through her, Amara took a second spoonful. This time, the sweetness deepened, and with it, another memory softened. The night she begged her husband to reconsider. His face became blurred in her mind, his words less distinct, his betrayal less vivid. She felt calm. Not peace, but calm. Outside the hut, a faint wind passed through the trees, though the night had been still moments before. It was as if something had exhaled. Amara did not notice the shift in the air because she was too focused on the absence inside her, the growing space where rage had once lived. and empty spaces rarely stay empty for long. She hesitated before the third spoon, not from fear, but from awareness that she was crossing something invisible. This was no longer about dulling pain. This was about erasing it. She swallowed. The warmth that followed did not stay on her tongue. It moved inward, deeper than memory, deeper than thought. For the first time since the betrayal, she felt clarity instead of sorrow. Cold clarity, precise clarity. And somewhere, in a place she could not name, something else became aware of her. The change did not begin with screams or shadows. It began with hesitation. Amara's sister paused mid-sentence one morning, her brow tightening as she searched for a word she had known her entire life. It was a simple word, a name she had spoken since childhood, and yet it slipped from her grasp like water. She laughed it off at first, but the forgetting did not stop. By evening, she misplaced objects she had just held. By night, she questioned whether she had locked the door, even while holding the key in her hand. Her husband grew irritated, mistaking confusion for carelessness. But within days, the same unease began touching him too. He forgot where he had hidden the gold coins he once guarded obsessively. He forgot conversations he himself had started. And worst of all, he forgot why he had ever chosen Amara's sister over Amara herself. The village noticed. Whispers began traveling faster than the wind. Some spoke of illness, others spoke of curses. But the elders said nothing, because they had seen this pattern before. Meanwhile, Amara walked through Kambara with a stillness that unsettled those who dared to look at her too long. She observed. Inside her, the emptiness left by forgetting had widened into something vast and echoing. And within that space, a presence had settled. Not loud, not violent, but aware. It spoke in impulses, in timing, in quiet nudges that directed her steps toward inevitability. And it waited. The dreams began with smoke. Amara stood again inside the hut. The clay pot was boiling without fire. Steam filled the room. Shapes formed within it. At first shadows, then one sharpened. Small. Too small to be an elder. Too small to be a spirit from legend. When it lifted its face, she saw her nephew. She woke with her heart pounding. For the first time, doubt returned. Not about revenge, about cost. The presence inside her shifted. A debt must be balanced. The next day, her nephew ran toward her in the courtyard, smiling. He spoke of honey cakes and small village games, and for a brief moment, love anchored her chest. The presence recoiled. Revenge requires emptiness, and love makes a soul too heavy. Still, she did not stop. She believed she controlled the bargain. She was wrong. The confrontation came at dusk. Amara stood in the courtyard and called her sister and her husband forward. "Tell me," she said, "why did you betray me?" They searched their memories. They found nothing. The village watched two guilty people unable to remember their crime. Then the scream came, from inside the house, sharp, sudden. Amara ran. Her nephew lay on the floor, breathless, unnaturally still. In that moment, the presence inside her withdrew. Clarity vanished. Pain returned. And suddenly she understood. The bargain had never been sealed at the confrontation. It had never been sealed at the third spoon. It had been sealed the moment she swallowed the first spoon. Because the spirits do not negotiate in stages. They choose their balance immediately. From the very first taste, something had already been marked, and it was never her sister. It was the only heart she still loved. In Kambara, revenge is not punished. It is collected, and the price is written in the first spoon.